Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got Lou Balestrieri, formerly known as Louie B. What's up, man?
How are you, my brother?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no doubt. Hope I didn't butcher your name too much.
No, you did a good job.
You have an interesting story. You're from the other side of the law, where I come from, but it wasn't always that way in the beginning, right?
I started with my left foot forward. You know, I come from an Italian neighborhood in Brooklyn. And, you know, any Italian neighborhood has wise guys in it. You know, there's a place to play numbers. There's always a club someplace where if you had a, specific problem, you could go and take that. You didn't call the police. You had people that would take care of it for you.
And that's how it used to be back in the day.
That's correct. That's correct. And we're talking the 60s, 70s, and maybe early 80s. I'm sure it still goes on today.
Did your family ever have a problem where they had to go to these people?
I had these people in my family. So,
you're watching people come to them with their
problem. How could I put it? We're not on record. I wasn't on record, so to speak, but we were spoken for. If I had a problem or whatever, we had people that we could talk to.
What was your early life like?
I went to kindergarten in South Brooklyn, actually called Park Slope. And when I was 5 years old, my father had a cousin who lived next door to us. We lived in a three-family brownstone. What happened is, way back when, all Italian families, what they did was they bought like 3-4 houses together. So everybody was on the same block. He was a bookmaker. And what they were doing with me is he would give me a bag and he'd give me $5 and I'd run it down to Uncle Mike. This was Uncle Jimmy bringing it down to Uncle Mike. I was running the numbers. I had no idea.
You're just handing the bag off.
Yeah, and they give me $5. And then I put all this money into a piggy bank that was actually this white sailor. I stuffed all the money in it. And my mother said, "Where are you getting all this money from?" I said, "Uncle Jimmy." He said, "What are you doing for Uncle Jimmy?" I says, "I bring the bag down the block." And I was running the numbers. Now, Uncle Jimmy used to take me to the bar, and there were people in there that I didn't know who they were, but they were somebody. And they'd sit me on it was like the little monkey with the guy with the box there. They'd sit me at the bar and, who's giving me dollar bills and so on and so forth. But it was all full of, they were doing their business in there. But I didn't know who was who at the time. But, I got to learn to be quiet. And then from there, I moved to East New York, Brooklyn. East New York, Brooklyn, the area that I came through, there was a lot of Bonanno, Lucchese, and some Gambino people in the area. And what I was doing, not knowing, I was hanging out with a lot of their kids. Now, I went to a grammar school, Catholic school, and little do I know, I got wise guys' kids in there. Like, there was a kid named, I'm going to call him Johnny. He said, "Johnny, how come your father didn't come to the science fair, the film festival, or whatever?" He's working. He was in prison. Okay.
Yeah.
A heavy hitter. And there were other people in there whose kids were involved. From there, I left and I went to another Catholic school called Christ the King. Christ the King was known for many of the students from Howard Beach went there. Now, Howard Beach is where John Gotti came from and, a lot of the heavy hitters. So I'm going to school with these guys' kids. And not that I was part of a crew or anything, but we all went to school together. We rode the same bus and we're a bunch of Italian guys. And, we're all shaking and moving, do what we have to do. And from there, I moved out to Long Island. When I got to Long Island, there was a mall. I didn't know what a mall was. I was never in a mall. I went down the avenue. That's how I shopped. You went to Jamaica or City Line. Where you go? I'm going down the avenue. I never saw a mall before. This is 1973, 74. They take me to a mall. I'm like, holy cow, this is the Avenue with a roof on it. So I'm walking through there, and I get into a little tiff with a guy who's in a pizzeria. I'm about 15 or 16, and this guy, I realized by the way he talked and by the way he combed his hair. You know, I had nice DA. You know, that's the way I went to school. We had pinky rings, gold chains, leather jacket. When I moved out to Long Island, there was a bunch of dirtbags with jeans on, long hair. You know, they were all freaky deaky, pot smoking guys. Now, that's something that I never played with. I never fooled around with drugs. That was not my forte. In that, still till today, I have a hang up, and the hang up is I got to be in control. You know, I just don't want to be out of control because I have a fear of it, which is crazy. But anyhow, this guy and I have a few words, and he says to me, I'll jump over that counter and I'll make chop meat out of you. I said, you will. Now, he was about 21 at the time. I was 15, but I wasn't going to back down. So he didn't jump over the counter, and I didn't fight with him. The next time I saw him, he said, you know, I'm a little sorry. We made amends. Next thing I know, this guy becomes like my older brother. Now, when I first was there, it was like this is maybe in the springtime. By the time Christmas time comes, he asked me, hey, you want to work here? It's getting busy. You could be a counterman. So I become, you know, he's paying me good money. I'm a counterman. Just handing out slices, and I stayed there a long time. Next thing I know, I become a pizza man. He taught me the pizza business, him and this other guy. Little do I know, one of the silent partners was an organized crime guy. And he wasn't a violent, break your leg kind of guy. You'd never even know he was a family guy, real gentleman, lovely family. He was involved in unions, you know. He was an earner. He was making money, whatever. He did whatever he had to do, but, you know, there was just an absolute gentleman. As a matter of fact, I still know his daughter fairly well. Once I get in there, I start to meet his nephews, and the mall is getting bigger, and people know that the place is owned by wise guys. So what we did was we just played off that, and people were afraid of us. Now we start shaking and moving in the mall, and we're doing things that you know, at the time, I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I thought we just, you know, this is the mentality of the area I grew up in. Hey, we're scoring, you know what I mean? I was getting stolen jewelry from guys, bringing it to me, and then I'd run downstairs because we knew the manager of one of the stores there, and I'd say, listen, what do you want to give me for this ring? I'll give you $100. Okay. I took the 100, put it in my pocket, ran upstairs, gave the guy 50, and everybody was happy. And the guy put it in his window for $300. So that was a score. You know, it was nice.
Yeah.
You know, and then we were doing other things and talking to people. And my favorite line, you know, I'm working with other guys who basically were doing the same thing. We're all making connections. And I'd say, hey, how you doing? How you making out? Are you corrupt? What do you mean? Where do you work? I work for this men's store. Oh, you do, huh? Are you corrupt? So what are you talking about? I mean, you get things that they will fall off the truck or whatever, you know. Not really. How about credit cards? What happens when you get a credit card? We turn it in because they give us a they give us a fee for turning it in. This is back in the day where you put the credit card in and you had to run the thing back and forth. You know, this is when Jesus was an altar boy. So I said, listen, maybe you don't want to do that anymore. He says, what are you talking about? I said, listen, when you get a bad credit card, why don't you call us upstairs? We'll help you out with that. And he said, what do you mean? I said, next time you get a credit card and, you know, a guy who's 6'6", and gives you the credit card and it says Bobby McDermott on it, you know, or Steve Savarelli, and he looks like Tyrell, you know it's not his card. So what I want you to do is ask him for more ID. And when he doesn't come up with the ID, tell him you're going to lock him up, but you'll turn around and let him run. And after he runs away, call us. And we came downstairs and we took the credit card and we banged it out. And everybody got new suits. So this is scoring. It's scamming. It's being an opportunist thief, so to speak. And I did this for a long time. I was 21 years old. I drove a brand new Lincoln. I was hustling, making money here, there, and everywhere. We got to know everybody. There were guys who that I went to school with in Brooklyn who were family members of wise guys. And of course, you start talking, you hook up. Who knows this guy? Who knows that guy? Now you become a friend. And this guy had a specific store, another men's store. And he said to us, remember those members only jackets?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you had a members only jacket, you were in like Flint, that was the style. And he said, listen, tonight I'm going to get a big thing of, got a big shipment of members only jackets. And I got this guy on, he's a Jewish guy. He was a knucklehead. So, if you guys want to do something, you could do it tonight because there's going to be this guy on, that guy. All right, no problem. We knew the guy. And what we did was we had the mall manager call. This guy drove a car, a brown Cordoba. And he used to park it like in the Bronx, sideways, because it was an old man's car, but it was brand new. And he used to have, he wanted anybody near it. This was his pride and joy. So what we did was we called him on the loudspeaker, telling him to report to his car. Now, we know he's got to run a mile to get there. And while he did that, we ran over and we took the whole rounder of jackets.
Yeah.
And we ran him out the back, and we knew the layout of the mall. We go downstairs underneath. Now we got the whole thing. Saturday night, we're in the club. Everybody's got their members-only jackets because, you take care of everybody. And I had them in all different colors. As a matter of fact, my ex-father-in-law, may God rest his soul, I think he still had his till the day he died. It's what we were doing,